Hey everybody, time for another midweek chat. I leave from a beautiful week of vacation up here in Seattle and the Olympic Peninsula, heading back home tonight. So and then a little time in Minneapolis. Be back in the office Thursday morning. So I hope things are going well. I haven't got any harsh news. I haven't shared. I thought not only I would take a vacation, but I'd give my face a vacation. So hopefully that doesn't scare anybody, right? Got some Parish news though. I emailed our staff saying anything that we should mention. I'm hoping that bridge goes up because it just came down because of train. Look at the bridge, it's going up. Isn't that cool? So this is Salmon Bay, and I'll turn around halfway through because I'm holding this with my hand today, and it's aptly named Salmon Bay because this is where the salmon run through when they come in from the salt water and they come in to spawn in the fresh water. So this is salt water right here, and then on the other side of the locks, which I'll show you in a little bit, it's fresh water. It goes into Lake Union and Union Bay, and then there's another channel that leads to Lake Washington, which is like 26 miles long or something like that. Big lake, and the salmon go through there, find their original spawning ground, that amazing journey that they make. I didn't think about an analogy for life. It would have been a nice spiritual point, but going home, right? I suppose eternal life, we spiritual people hold in our tradition anyway, certainly, that we come from God and we're going to God, just like the little baby salmon come from the freshwater little section inland somewhere, and they go back there when they grow up and complete their journey, and they die, and they give eggs to new salmon, right? So there's something about that. That's the gospel from the Holy Thursday. Jesus rose from the table knowing that he'd come from God and was going to God. Rose from the table, put a towel around his waist, and began to wash his disciples' feet. So this is our journey. It's like the salmon. It's amazing, isn't it, that they know exactly where they came from? I guess they do, you know. If it's a little river tributary, they go back there and they lay their eggs. And, if we only had the same precise memory and goal in life, to return to the place of our origin in the heart of God, right? So some of us do, and some of us try our best to live according to that goal, right? So anyway, the bridge is all the way up. I got some Parish news in a second. I just want to mention up here, you can't really see, but I used to work at a nursing home. When I was here in the late 80s, I worked at a nursing home. I worked at a community mental health center, and we'd serve nursing homes. And twice a week, we'd go to Lockview nursing home, which doesn't exist anymore. I went back to visit some years ago, and it's been turned into private condominiums. Ooh, there goes did you see that seagull? But it was just like where if you go to that railroad bridge and turn that way and scramble up a little trail, that's the nursing home we went to. So we'd be there in the morning, and then I had a bag lunch usually, and I'd scramble down the trail, and I'd sit kind of where I'm standing right now and have lunch. Not a bad place for a lunch, huh? There's a boat coming through. So they call these the locks because the boats come in at sea level here on the saltwater, Puget Sound, just beyond the Salmon Bay there. And then to get into the freshwater toward Lake Washington and Lake Union and all that, the boat has to go through a lock to, because this is below the lake level, right? So they get in and they add water. It's this whole system of changing water level. So I just kind of show you. You can't see real well, but that's behind me. That's the dam that forms the locks. And the salmon go through, and there's a fish ladder up there, and I'm not going to take that whole walk, but you just get a little sense of what it looks like. I think this is probably a little bit more scenic, so we'll stick with this. But man, those years working at that nursing home, they were just super, super years for me. And the community mental health center, it's a little bit coming full circle. I shared that my mom has cognitive setbacks due to some strokes that she had in May, and some memory issues and things like that. And that was really my work for 2 years, working with anyone in a nursing setting that had a mental health diagnosis, and the most common one was Alzheimer's disease. So and dementia. So we'll see where Mom goes with all that, but I'm glad I had that experience. Doesn't make me an expert, but it makes me a little bit familiar with everything. I remember struggling really hard that what's the meaning of life when you can't remember from moment to moment what's happening. And I got kind of discouraged one day. I was like, I was trying to teach someone how to play crazy eights. Her name was Pearl, and she's a lovely, pleasant woman, but she just never could learn crazy eights because her short-term memory was so impaired. And anyway, I said, well, the meaning of life is kind of spiritual growth, connecting your one moment to the next, trying to improve, comparing your present versus your past, and when that's gone, what's to bring you meaning, and how can I help people in that situation have meaning? And I met with a kind of a mentor of sorts. His name was John, and went out for coffee, and he said, well, maybe your model for spiritual growth is like you're on a line, like if you draw a line, like getting better, or maybe a wave, like you get better, you get worse. And you're saying people can't connect, those lines don't exist anymore because they can't connect the present to the past as well, at least the short-term past. And he said, what if instead of a line, it's just a series of dots, that you meet people in the moment of their life that you're with them, and that you try to enhance that dot when you're with them. Bring a smile, bring a bit of laugh, help them feel cared for, help them feel important. And anyone can feel that in the moment. They may not remember that 10 minutes later, a day later, but in that moment, you're with them, and love is present, and love is eternal. So you're joined to the life of God there. So anyway, that was very helpful for me. I remember that like it was yesterday, though it's 1986. Anyway, so good times. And I was with Frank and Anita. Anita was the social worker that I assisted for those 2 years. And she's 86 now. Her husband is 90. They have their 63rd wedding anniversary this weekend. And I was able to visit with them. Funny story, I got there, we agreed that I'd show up around noon hour on Monday, which was yesterday. And I knocked and I heard a little shuffling, like someone was home, but nobody came to the door. Then I rang the bell, so I just sat down on one of their chairs in front of the door, and Anita came out in her bathrobe and slippers, and she said, "Oh, Tom, I forgot. I forgot you were coming." So, yeah. But we had a great afternoon, nonetheless. Frank. Anyway, I won't tell the whole story. I didn't mean to embarrass them, but they won't watch this anyway. But, anyway, it was good. It's good to have these relationships and friendships over time. I'm with Jim. I don't know. Jim's behind me. Jim is good enough to. Jim watches the chat, so I said, I got to do this chat. He goes, yeah, go ahead. You can make yourself a beautiful spot to sit and wait, and watch the salmon go through the fish ladder. The sockeyes are going through right now. Next month it'll be the king salmon, and in September the coho go through. But yeah, I do have some parish news, and then maybe a few other things just to chat about a little bit. If I'm too wiggly, I hope you'll understand. I don't have my tripod. I'm just holding this with my hand and testing my deltoid strength. Okay. So Anne is always so good about arranging our blood drive. So Red Cross is coming to St. James on Monday, August 7th. And they will be tapping veins for, I'm trying to think of hours. I don't have the hours, but it's pretty much all day that they're there. I think it's roughly 10 till 7 or something like that. But you can sign up at redcross.org, or you can just call Anne or someone at the office, and probably Anne. She's got the schedule. I think she's extension 2 when you call in. So we're glad to host the Red Cross on just coming attractions, something to get excited about. You can't sign up yet, but on August 27th, it's a Saturday from 2 till 9 p.m. with dinner included. There'll be something called Refocus. So one of our marriage prep instruments that we use to prepare people for marriage is called Focus, and so they call this Refocus. It's like marriage enrichment for people that are have been married. And it should be really nice. And it says there's also going to be, besides dinner, like I don't know, something you can take home, like a souvenir. So that's good. Hey, I heard that the Sarah Hart event this week, I think just this morning was the workshop, and last night was the concert, that it was super. I am really sorry to have missed it, but for obvious reasons, I couldn't be there. But I got a couple emails from people who attended. Deborah mentioned it to me, and Sherry. They said it's just an awesome concert, and I would have gone, and I would have invited people to go with me, and so I'm sorry to have missed it. But thanks, Sarah, for coming to us, and Sherry for kind of being the drive of making that happen with Mary, our music director. And where Mary works a lot, Mike is working a lot too. I think arranging screens and projectors and stuff like that. So, and Father James came over and he took a lot of pictures. I didn't see them yet, but there's one of those planes. Can I show it to you? Can you see it? It's one of those seaplanes with the little boats for skis on the bottom, so you can land in the water. They fly all over the place here. But Father James from St. Olaf's came over, and he's a great photographer, and he took a bunch of pictures of that event. So someone or myself, when I get back, will throw those up on our Facebook page or web page, or certainly on the parish bulletin. Let's see. I should have led with this. Happy St. James Day. That's one of the reasons I thought it'd be better to do the chat today than tomorrow. It's my last day in Seattle, but also it's St. James Day. So happy St. James Day, July 25th. And Santiago, as they call him in España, in Spain, where he's the patron saint. By tradition, when the apostles went all over the place after the resurrection and after Pentecost, mainly, James went to Spain and spread the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ to the people of Spain and Portugal. And so when he died, and that's reported in the Acts of the Apostles, he's the first of the apostles to be martyred. And he had his head cut off. And there's a Armenian Orthodox Cathedral of St. James in the old city of Jerusalem. And they have his head under an altar. When I was on sabbatical there, I took a picture of that altar where his head was buried. I didn't get that many likes for it. I think maybe people found it a little bit grisly, but anyway, it's a great, I don't think we ever really stopped there on our pilgrimage. We should do that next time, since we're from St. James. Gosh, somebody remind me of that, okay? So we're planning to go in April, and then June 2025 as well. Boy, I'm a little embarrassed that we've never made the effort to go to the place where St. James' head is. But now I know. I've been publicly humiliated, and I will remember for the rest of my life. But his body is by tradition, in Spain, on the northwest coast of Spain. And you've probably looked around and seen seashells, symbols around our church. We have them on our baptismal font. We have them etched into a lot of our windows when you come into church. And the seashells, a symbol of St. James. It's a symbol of pilgrims. So St. James is the patron saint of pilgrims. Other than Jerusalem and maybe Rome, the most famous or visited destination of a Christian pilgrimage has been Santiago de Compostela in northwest Spain. And there's a cathedral there, and Father Lindner, my friend, he walked one of the main routes across the whole northern tier of Spain over 2 years. I think he did it, I don't know, maybe it took him 10 weeks, 5 weeks one year, and then 5 weeks the other year. Maybe I insulted him. Maybe he did it like 3 weeks and 3 weeks, but he did it. And it's back to that journey. It's that pilgrimage. What's the pilgrimage? The pilgrimage is that we're all walking each other home. We've come from God, we're going to God, just like the salmon. Okay, so bringing that home. Anyway, happy St. James Day to everybody. May his prayers of intercession be with us on our sacred journey together to God. Back to more pointed parish news. Religious education. So I heard from Kelly, there's going to be not tomorrow, but the next Wednesday, August 2nd, will be ice cream making for our youth. And that's, I think, by registration only. So you can register for that on the webpage, or I'm sure you can give the office a call and they'll relay it to Kelly. And she said, bring mitts, bring oven mitts, not because it'll be hot, but because it'll be cold, right? Ice cream is cold. It's like the cheer at the Badger hockey games when one of the opponents falls on the ice. All the students and people in the know sing, ice is slippery, ice is slippery. So ice cream's cold, bring your oven mitts. We will have a registration for Religious Ed, our Wednesday night program. Everybody's welcome, even if you go to Regis Catholic Schools, but usually it's for the ones that aren't in the Catholic schools that are come. And that will be, registration begins the first half of August, August 1st to August 14th through the website. There's an e-form where you can do that most efficiently. There's going to be a need for middle school teachers. There will be a team teaching thing, so you teach with other people, middle school students in groups. So that would be great if anyone could consider doing that, and maybe feel a call for that to help teach middle school religious ed. And a lot of that is facilitating discussion and group activities, but with others. It wouldn't be just on your own. So that'd be great. She'd be so happy, and I'd be happy, and it would be good for some of you to do that. Not everybody's call, but it's an important call to listen to if you have it. 8-6, what is that? Sunday, the Express game, Express night, St. James Express night. It'll be $30. You can check on our website or give a call to the office to sign up for that. Is that it? Maybe. Man, I've been eating well this whole trip. I'm gonna have to really go on a fast or something when I get back. A lot of seafood, a lot of favorite foods. I had some peaches. They had, I'm kind of missing the prime peaches coming over from Yakima Valley, but there were some, and they were a little bit not great, but they're still, some were very flavorful. But really in the next month, they'll be just great. There's this market in town called Metropolitan Market. They make something they call the cookie. That's what I hope to have for lunch today. It's a big honkin' chocolate chip cookie with pecans in it. Oh my gosh, so good. Okay, there goes the seagull. I'll give you a little different view just for kicks. I'll show you this way. And let's see, I saw Oppenheimer today. So the two big movies last weekend, right? Oppenheimer and Barbie. I thought Barbie, I don't want to go to Barbie. I'm not into Barbie, but it sounds like it's kind of a social critique in some ways. Interesting to always hear people's opinions or ways of approaching image. I don't know if it'd be about body image or the role of women or what, but it sounds like it's more than just kind of a teen movie, but it has something that they're trying to say. So I'll be curious what that's like. But Oppenheimer, of course, very serious movie about the fellow who developed the atomic bomb, and just his moral reservations about it, his attempts to curb the arms race from the beginning to try to make it more of an international cooperative thing once it became a reality. There's some pretty interesting meetings. There's he meets Harry Truman in the Oval Office after the event. He gets on trial. It's during the McCarthy era, so they try to discredit him. So he goes from being the big hero of the country to being accused of being communist and not being loyal and all these things. So, boy, it's long though. It's 3 hours. I thought when I get back home, am I more likely to go to a 3-hour movie or a 2-hour? So we went to the 3-hour one today, and it was super cloudy and chilly when we went, and we got out, and it's a day like today. Isn't that beautiful? So, sorry, I'm taking up too much of the screen. Our book club will be finally. I've had it on the calendar for over 2 months, but come and see Discipleship in the Gospel of John. I believe it's a week from today that we'll meet either in person or by Zoom for that. Yeah, but boy, I'll tell you, go back this way. That Oppenheimer movie does just show you the horrors of war and everything that can happen. And people debate the Japanese emperor just would never, it was such a dishonorable thing to surrender, and even after one exploded, they didn't surrender, and so it was two, and you just think of all the devastation, and I'm sure you've seen images. If you haven't, they're not easy to see, but they're probably important to see, of the destruction, the human destruction of that. But and any war does that, but that in an especially horrific way. Maybe it's somewhat of a miracle they haven't been used since in a war, and we hope it stays that way. I think Pope John Paul II said, war never again, war never again. We just can't have war ever again. It's just so destructive and hurtful. But as Paul VI said, well, if you really want to keep that pledge and make it more than just a slogan, you gotta create just conditions in the world. If you want peace, work for justice. Because where there's injustice, there's always going to be people really upset, and you're always kind of on the edge of conflict and war and anger. So I think maybe that's what I got for today. I'm so grateful to the hospitality of friends that I've been here with. My friend Jim just took me on this incredible bike journey to the Olympic Peninsula. Last week's was the first night, then we had 4 more nights over there. Got a little tendonitis in my right Achilles because of that. But that'll heal just well. I have a lot of great memories. But when people are so generous to you, you just wish it could be. But people don't tend to come to Eau Claire for a vacation, So if you live in Seattle, you're hosting a lot of people and friends. But it's like our God, when people are good to us and love us, I hope, we take that to heart and say how loved we are, and it should make us want to pass it on, right? To be hospitable and loving ourselves. And isn't that the core of spirituality? Christian spirituality, maybe any spirituality, to know grace, to know goodness, to know blessing, and to find reason, even during difficult times, reasons to be grateful, and is that the train again? Oh, the bridge came down again. So let that happen. And, but isn't that? So I don't mean to belittle anyone's struggles today. I'm not saying don't worry, just be happy, but I think there is reason for that we're really charged to be grateful, that we have life, that we have a Savior, that we have someone who knows what death is like and walks with us, and who rose from the dead himself, and will hold our hand to the day of resurrection ourselves. So I'm going to just pause off with that and show you that train going over. It's the journey. Happy St. James Day, patron saint of our sacred journey called Pilgrimage Through Life. God bless everybody.